It's Vaishali from the Caregena podcast, and here I am today with Sunila, who is India's first woman bodybuilder and holds a national LIMCA record from 1996.
Thank you, Vaishali, for that sweet introduction. And thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thank you for being here. My first question for you is what specific goals and aspirations drive the fitness goals and work you engage in?
So, I would say for my fitness goals, I did not have a particular goal or aspiration in mind, but I felt like I was always an athlete at heart while I was growing up. And so you have to go back to 90s. And I think it's still the case that even if kids want to pursue sports and sports education, it's not primarily supported as quite in the Asian community, in the South Asian community where I come from India. And it was even harder in those days. So being athletic at heart and want to pursue something athletics was definitely a challenge. So that said, I had to really go with the normal routes as everybody, but I did never ever gave up being athletic on that side. And I loved athletics so much that I still continued whenever I could. So let me put it that way. Yeah, that's how I still continued my journey. But I did a degree, like a master's degree. I got a master's in computers and I got into the mainstream of computers in the IT. But being athletic at heart, I think I continued that. And with that aspiration, I think that goal always in mind. I'm glad that I was anyway in computers because then that really gave, that supported my sport, which is a very expensive sport. Bodybuilding is a very expensive sport. And I was able to really get to my goal, the final goal of getting on stage and competing with other women bodybuilders. So I would say it all comes together eventually. So I think I lost you a little bit. I didn't hear you quite right. Can you repeat the question for me?
Yes, sorry. Could you share a deeply personal or impactful story that inspired your involvement in bodybuilding?
So I would say bodybuilding was never on my chart very clearly because back in 90s bodybuilding was just a term which men did and was supposed to be a men's sport. So bodybuilding means building muscles, and building muscles for a woman was definitely a no-no because the woman, especially in India, has to be very delicate, beautiful, not with muscles. But so that was completely new to me. But as I was, my mom, I would say she was a yoga teacher. She practiced BKS Iyengar yoga and she taught BKS Iyengar yoga, Hatha yoga. And she was working at a gym. And that's when, since she saw my interest in being athletic and just being fit, even during my college days, especially in my junior year and senior year, she introduced me to the coach there. And he happened to be a very well-known bodybuilder of his times. And he was interested to train me in a way just to keep myself fit. And in his mind, and his name is Dr. Arun Datar, and he is still healthy and alive, 83 years old as of today, and very proud of me. I just had a call with him just 2 days back. But he would always say that women have to be very strong. And it doesn't matter whether they are at home or they are working or no matter what. He completely believed women are naturally born strong because they go to different cycles of life. They go through a pregnancy, they come back, handle the chores at home, they handle work, life, everything they balance. So he believed that they are the stronger side in a particular family. The other part that he believed also is when you're physically fit, healthy, it makes you even better to go through all these different life cycle changes. And that's when, so he started training me in the gym, where again, going to a gym was very unique because gyms in 90s, 99 to be precise, 1990, where there were barely any gyms. I would call 4 gyms around Pune, and most of the gyms were male dominated. They would be flexing their muscles, they would be lifting heavy weights. It's just those Arnold types, like Hulk's bulk, and so you have to imagine all that. And based on that, no women, rather, no girls went to such gyms. Right? This was a little unique. It was not that raw gym, I would say, raw kind of a gym, but it was still raw in many ways because there was some modern, all the gym equipment that we see around nowadays. Yes, all of that was there. It was not a akhada. You know what a akhada is? Akhada is the one which is like the wrestlers, right? You've seen the wrestling akhadas, right? They are with the, yeah. So it wasn't something of that sort. So it was a gym. It was still a proper gym. And you can find some of the old pictures on my Facebook page, and it looks very colorful. But so that said, a very long answer to your question is he started training me with all the equipment. And if you know about some of the names of the equipment, is the back pulley, the row, the pulley row, the hack squat, the squats, the bench press, everything. So we had everything. So it's not that, we missed anything. But at the same time, I was just getting stronger and I loved it, the way I felt holding the iron. I really felt nice and strong just by the, its feeling. And at one point, one of the days, there was some posing practice going on. And let me tell you, what is a posing practice is when you see bodybuilders on stage, what do? They pose. Yeah, and they're in their underpants, or it's called actually not underpants. It's a special trunk. It's a special suit that they present. But look at that! I'm a 17-year-old girl watching a guy in whatever, and then he's posing. He's practicing posing in the gym with my coach, and I was, of course, I felt very shy. You have to again go back to those 90s where not even little skin is shown by a girl or a boy, right? So you have to think from that process. Nowadays, I think it's like people wear like all kinds of clothes, like barely any clothes, sometimes even in normal, so it's like you barely showed any skin. So that was very awkward for me. But at the same time, I realized there was something going on, and that's what this practice was for. And it lasted only for about 5 minutes. Think about a dance performance. How long does it last? For one song, right? But how much is the energy that you impart in a dance program in that 5 minutes? You're like breathless. Same is the case when you do posing. And after every posing routine, that person had to stop and again. So it went on for almost 45 minutes that he was practicing. So my query for my coach was, what is this guy doing, right? I don't even know. I mean, what is he doing? I'm sure he was doing something, but it was very new to me. Also, you have to think about media at that time. There was no social media. There was TV, but TV you would get 4 channels. So, I mean, it's a very different age. And at the same time, I didn't know about this. So he told me this is called bodybuilding. And so I said, how do you do that? Do girls do this too as well? I mean, just as a curious question, right? Like I'm a 17-year-old girl. And he said, yeah, women do bodybuilding, but not in our country. Yes, in Australia, in US, in Japan, there are women who build muscles and then they pose. And there are competitions. I'm like, oh, wow, that's amazing. I mean, I was just impressed by something which is, why doesn't India support bodybuilding? My very simple question. I mean, if it is so unique and if it looks beautiful. So that was my introduction to bodybuilding. So to your question, a very long answer, but that's how it all started, that I got introduced to bodybuilding. What is bodybuilding?
Wow, that's wonderful. Reflecting on how you got introduced, what are some of the most formidable challenges you've encountered, whether it be social issues or maybe just like, as you mentioned, being a 17-year-old girl introduced to this totally new environment. I guess, how did you navigate through them?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that was really one of the toughest thing But I should say that my parents, I think definitely they were much more, I would say, supportive at that time, now that I look back at it. Right. But yes, they did their homework as well. And so they asked my coach as to what is this girl? I mean, of course, see, as I told you, my mom introduced me to come to the gym to stay fit, right? So which already tells you that how my mom was so progressive, right? So that itself tells you, like, I don't know how many moms right now support, say, tell women or girls, their kids, go to the gym and work out now in this day and age. Not too many still, right? But you can see the progressive mindset of my parents at that time. And I went, but at the same time, they were thinking more of a very, what do you say, as a healthy lifestyle. I will be still in good health and everything that way when I'm, making myself work hard at the gym. So that's what their thought process was. And they thought I'll just leave it up there. But because I was introduced to something new, and I loved to always take up challenges, just as I was. And I took that up, and I also started flexing muscles at home because I have to see myself, because I saw that guy. And the easiest way to flex muscle is to see your bicep in the mirror, right? Which nowadays so many people post pictures of their biceps, is exactly, right? So that's how I saw, and I saw that little boop, popped up peak up there. And I was very happy. I was very delighted. And then I told my coach the next day, I said, you know what? I think I flexed and I see that bicep. So, and he's like, I see this muscle. So I didn't know the name of that muscle. I said, this muscle. And he said, yeah, it's the bicep. And I said, oh, really? I said, yeah, do I have muscles? Because the same questions, like how people ask now, right? I had the same questions like anybody else. So do I have muscles too? Just like, yeah, you have muscles. And of course, there was a anatomical picture showing all the muscles of the body, beautiful. Some of the well-known, renowned bodybuilders, women and men, posters were there as of any gym. And no pain, no gain, all that great stuff was there. But who knew what is all that, right? It's all pictures and it's text, right? But that all said, he said, yeah, you will have muscles if you train for it. I said, that's neat. I mean, can you show me some of the women bodybuilders that you talked about? And so this was my conversation with my coach, and I was just intrigued by everything. And at that time, he would get Muscle and Fitness, the magazine, and he would get that imported at that time. So you have to think again of that day and age where you import such magazines for a higher cost, and it's probably a used copy and things like that. But yes, he got it because he was one of the best bodybuilders then. And so he told me everything, and I saw the women, and I'm like, oh my God, they looked gorgeous with those muscles. I mean, those beautiful sculpted bodies. I'm like, wow. I mean, and I've seen just in the movies at that time, right? Like the English movies, the Western movies. So they were not sculpted, but they were slim. If you see the olden movies, if you see the golden era movies, and you will see all of them slim and trim, right? But they were not sculpted, right? They were not toned. I would say. I think Rachel Green from Friends, right? Basically, I think she's the one who started with that sculpted body, I think, and everybody picked up after that. Most. So coming back, so that is where I saw sculpted bodies in India in 1990, and I was impressed. And so I asked my coach, how long does this take? How much effort does it take? Whatever, right? Because it's a sport, and I felt I want to do something different. Why not? Because there's no harm in it. There is, even though it's a female body, there's no problems for future, whatever, deliveries or whatever from any perspective. So I said, why don't people pick it up? And then again, you have to go back to that old hat and then Indian culture saying, okay, women cannot be exposed, right? They're going to come in a two-piece. You cannot be exposed. So again, all the different things around it, the taboos and the muscles, the bulkiness and whatnot, right? So all that has to come into picture. But at the same time, my coach said, you know what, don't worry, you're not going to get that bulky, because bulky means you have to eat a lot and a lot of protein, and you have to train a lot, which means you are going to put at least 6 hours of training time, only with weights. Crazy. And that much of rest. And I was like, oh, really, that's tough. That's serious stuff, right? So that's a sportsman, how you start building and training yourself. Coming back to your question, how did the social life around me, my parents, everybody. So this was my understanding from my coach. And I was fine with it. I was just a teenager, right? I want to conquer the world, right? And if I get to do something different, I'll be famous, isn't it? You have to think about again those times, right? Like now, even now, right now, what do teenagers do, right? They want to get on Instagram. I want followers. I want this. I was that same person. Nothing different. But social media didn't exist at that time. So that's it. Now my coach had a plan that, of course, I'll start training and he will introduce me as a bodybuilder. Because he would go for these bodybuilding, he was always invited for these bodybuilding competitions where he used to be a judge, placing men in their different categories. So he knew all the different associations and, around it. So that way he could introduce me. But I had to be trained by that time. I had to be ready. It's not just I'm just going to show off my body there, right? It's more I'm showing off my muscle there, which is different. So now we had to make my parents ready for that. Now comes that social pressure, right? So now my parents, because they're parents, they would worry for their kids. They wanted to know everything around it. So my mom took me to a gynecologist, of course. So the doctor, he was one who came to our gym. And then I also think about the gyms, they're like more of homely because everybody knows each other. Hey, yeah, Sunila comes here, things like that. So the doctor, he joked, he said, you know what, don't worry, mom, her baby's going to come out like in 2 minutes because her core will be so strong. And trust me, I think I would say that was a joke at that time, but really my daughter, she was out in literally 20 minutes.
Wow.
So the main pushing part where I see people struggling there for quite some time. But I'm guessing that was a help for me for my delivery. But I had to go through that with my parents and they had to go through a learning experience. And now that I look back, I feel my father also was very forward thinking and progressive, I would say. That he mentioned that if you're swimming, and swimming was one of the sport at least girls did at that time. So that was the closest sport, I would say, where women bodies were exposed. And so he said swimming is a sport where women have to wear whatever swimming suit, right? So that's the attire you have to be able to abide by in order to do that sport. So whatever needs to be done for your sport, you need to do, right? And I would say other athletics like running, high jump and all, they at least had those shorts, the training shorts. So it was still more covered than swimming suit. You see where I'm going? So you have to think from that angle. Now everything is so exposed. Oh my God, too much exposed. So you don't see any problem there. You don't see any taboo there. But if one person, and I'm not one of those big shots, I'm coming from a very middle class family and, like people watch me here and there and so it's just different, the whole entire thing. So that was my parents. So they supported from that perspective. Now I had my 3 best pillars with me, supporting me. And I didn't care for the rest of the world. I would say, so my coach was my godfather. I still say that. And they always say, right, a guru finds you. I don't know whether you've heard about that. And I think he found me. I didn't have to go and find my guru. So he found me. And talking about the other social pressures, because I was in my teenage years and I was in college, of course, the boys are boys. What can I say? Even now, I guess, right? They still tease, everything they do. But I think when they heard me doing bodybuilding, of course, I was another target. But I think they realized that I was getting stronger. So they did not BS with me. And because they would see that I'm lifting weights. And with weights, guys, when they start lifting weights as well, they get stronger, right? So I was getting stronger. And I was no longer that timid, or I was never timid, by the way. But like sweet little, oh my God, if she's pushed, she'll cry, she'll fall, whatever. I was never that, first of all. But I was just getting stronger, and nobody Eve teased me after that. And rather my friends. It's a funny story, especially my girlfriends. They would say, "Hey, Sunila, we need to, just come along with us, and like that way, nobody's going to tease us." I'm like, "Okay, sure." And of course, some of the guys actually from my same class, my classmates. Yes, they did make fun of me. Yes, and I saw that, and they were like, whatever, like meh, kind of a feeling, right? But now, actually, when I met some of my friends last year, and they said, Sunila, I don't know what you're doing. You look awesome. I said, I knew this from a long time back. And this was one of that friend who was in my college back then. And they said, we made so much fun of you. I said, I'm so sorry to hear that. So, yeah, I think you have a long answers for all your questions.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's wonderful, especially as you brought up the point about like, thinking of long term. Like everything that you do today is like another step for like being healthier in the future in a way. So my question is, how do you manage to balance, your career as well as, your family life and bodybuilding at the same time, and as well as your fitness classes?
Yeah, so I know it's, I would say, this is my learning. And for any of the, especially younger folks, I would say, for the fact that when you're young, you don't have any responsibilities. The main responsibility that you have is you study, you eat, sleep, and have fun, right? And one of the biggest responsibilities is just to study, right? You don't have to worry, I have to go earn money, like all the other things what parents have to do. And I guess one of the best things that I think what got me into all these things of being balancing my time, because it's all about balancing time of 24 hours in a day. My father and my grandfather both, I mean, my parents basically, I would say, even my mom, they would say, like cultivate healthy habits, you know don't waste time. Time is money. And I think every parent says that, right? And I think it's just, for me, I just saw that coming together as I was growing up, because I love to utilize every single time. My mom used to say, oh, you know what, don't waste even a single minute. If you have a few minutes, go read a quick book, do something quick, 5 minutes, do something creative, quickly, maybe. And I was good at art, I was good at a lot of good things, and I think I had so many things to do. Rather, time was something like I was falling short of at a lot of times. So I realized that kind of helped me saying, that time is money and utilize every time. And I think that happens even now. So I cannot sit just idle. You'll see me doing something, working on something. And I think that habit cultivated in at a very younger age. So that was one thing. Secondly, waking up early in the morning, that gave me a lot of time in hand, I feel. Because if I'm waking, I never woke up after 6 a.m., even when I was a kid. For the other fact as well, I think there's another piece to it. Our lifestyle was different. We didn't have as much TV. We did not have as many distractions like a phone or, all the other distractions that everybody else has now. We didn't have that kind of resources in terms of money to spend and, go and shop around and, eat out and all that stuff. So I think that was great in a way, because then we were not distracted at all, right? So that said, I would sleep early. By 9:30, everybody has to be in bed. So you go off to sleep, because anyway, there's nothing on TV after 9, right? So it was very controlled lifestyle in a say, which actually helps me now. And I feel if somebody still is able to implement that lifestyle, go off to bed 9:30, 10, You can wake up early in the morning. You will get the best sleep. You will, even if you wake up at 5 in the morning, we talk about the 5 a.m. club these days, right? You wake up 5 in the morning, you set up your routine, you have your, I would say, your affirmations or anything, right, to set your day up. We talk about all that stuff. And my life is exactly like that, without a 5 a.m. club book, which is a realist. And so it started off so early, and I think I just started building habits one on top of each other. Even my life got a little busy when I went to college. So my practicals were there in the morning, like 9 o'clock. So which means if I had to get my workout finished, I have to go to workout at least at 6, because then I would get done by 8. I would come take a shower. Food is ready and I don't have to cook. But I had to plan all that in order to, get to that 9 o'clock. And again, we did not drive. I had to take the bus. So, a lot of things. But see, those habits, as they built on top, now they become so easy, which means I know I have to get off this time, So inculcate your habits early on in your life. They will come much more handy in later stage, and you will not be struggling, to set up a routine. That's how I would say. And one more thing is be focused. It's okay not to, your goals are, they're not going to come in a month. Everybody studies, like a student studies for a whole year to give their final exam, which is a couple of hours, right? And for how many years we do this to get a graduation? 20 years of studying first, right? It's not just the 3 years of college. It's right from your kindergarten till college, and then you get graduation. So it's the same journey. You have to start on for your fitness somewhere. So start off, never too late, and that's how you can start building on top of them. And now it's not like, I don't look at it as a workout. I have to go and work out. It's like a normal thing. I eat, I sleep, I brush, I take a shower. Simple, right? It just becomes one thing that I cannot live without. I cannot live without a meal, right? I cannot live without a sleep if I don't get my sleep for 5-6 hours. Everybody does that, right? But health, I think that's one of the biggest priority I feel it's everybody should start taking up.
Definitely. Especially as you mentioned, right? The older you get, like, there's so many complications that tend to arise. And if you start young, then, it'll be healthier and less complicated in the future. So, drawing from your own journey, what invaluable insights would you impart to individuals who are starting off in fitness or any other maybe sports or athletic competitions?
Yeah. Yeah. No, and actually, I mean, I think I forgot to mention one more point is like, this journey is not a short-term journey. It's a lifetime journey. You're here for life. And how you want to build up your life starts at a younger age. So, invest your time in learning a lot, instead of partying. I mean, you can party, yes, but, like, it should not be like, you're just going way off, kind of. I mean, if you see, you don't have to be a renowned athlete, but I just feel having that athletic mindset. I mean, I feel that athletic mindset helps me because I'm not going in there to win every day, but I am going in to progress myself on my journey, right? I mean, even if you hear the top class athletes or players, right? May it be Ronaldo, anybody else like tennis players, you can just hear them out. How long do they continue to practice? They don't say like, I'm going there on the court to win a tennis game, right? So it's all about that. And I think that helps a different kind of mindset, which is more dynamic. So you don't get stuck in, I lost. It's not about that. You learn something from it. And I think that keeps you going, and going. So I think that's very important, I think, these days, because everybody is getting pulled into the small mind, I think. I'm depressed because I didn't get this. So what? Work harder for it, right? Find out, where did you lose? Why did you not get enough? Were you not enough at that time? And don't be hard on yourself. Still, you love yourself. That's why you challenge yourself more to get to that next level. And everybody's capable of it. Everybody's capable of it. And of course, there will be a lot of social pressures. Just a small drink, have it. Just a small puff, have it. Don't go for all those, because those are going to bring you down eventually. For fun's sakes, yes, I don't support it as well, because I see the value now that we did not have that support at all. It was like a big taboo. No drinking, no smoking, nothing. And not even being in that company. Forget about, even if you're caught up in anybody's company, you will be banned from their company. Like, parents will ban you. Now we can't even do that here. And so that's where, instead of being so harsh on kids, they feel like this is harsh. But they say, Mom, it's okay, a little bit. I feel it's not okay, because anything you put in your body has a chemical and a physical effect, because our body is all science. It's biology, chemistry, and physics, and math along with it. So when everybody's now calculating calories, it's math, right? When you go ingest that food, it's all chemistry. Either fat burns or it doesn't burn and it gets deposited. All the effort you put in, that's all physics. How much resistance you give your body, and how much, weight you put on the machine or on the weightlifting journey, that is going to start burning your fat. So that's resistance, that's physics. So think about it. If you start thinking from that perspective, you'll get a very different mindset. And I think that's in everything. Same thing in education. If you put that much of effort, results are but obvious, right? So don't get distracted. It's very hard right now for the kids and all the students to get distracted with little things. Try not to, because the longer journey is way ahead, and you're investing your time in your own self. And that is more important. And to your point, what you mentioned, as we get older, there are a lot of issues that start, right? So those issues, yeah, everybody knows, anyway, I'll take a pill. Don't take a pill. Why do you want to take a pill? Why do you want to be supported by something which is in turn going to, make your body and life more miserable? Do you want to be miserable, or do you want to be healthy? That's your choice now. The earlier you make that choice, it just becomes easier as a lifestyle. It can be changed at any time, but again, you have to have that fixed mindset. Mind over matter, right? So even at 40, 50, anybody can change their lifestyle, but then it becomes a little harder. When you're already used to these habits, that's when you will get, oh, yeah, that's fine. So that is how I am able to balance all this world around me, because now I get up even earlier than what I used to, because now I had to get additional hours for myself. So I'm literally up even earlier, like 3:30, quarter to 4-ish. And my day starts then, but my day ends by 10, because by that time I'm completely drained out. But I see the whole difference, and you start becoming just very effective with time and efficient with time when you wake up in the morning. But that's something that you have to choose, and I have chosen that. So when people ask me, so can't you enjoy a movie with us late? I said, not that of a priority as much, sorry. I think I like my workout better. I'll make an exception, maybe at some point of time, maybe sometime, but not every time. And I think we tend to do it every time. Oh, it's the weekend. Come on, let's go. No, come on. So you have to have some discipline in your life. And that helps. Discipline and consistency, constantly.
Yeah, definitely. Like, especially as you mentioned, like there's so much opportunity out there, whether it be I just graduated from high school last year, and there people have taken like so many different paths. So, as you mentioned, right? There's no one clear path to a certain like successful goal. It's like it's like it's like a roller coaster, right? You go up, it comes down. So, I feel like there's like so many like different obstacles that people face, but um in the limelight, like people only see that, oh, they're at the highest position, and you have to get into like a super good college or get some really good internships, but there is no actual, like, I'd say, like a clear like, I don't know, like a checklist that can get you anywhere you want, right? It's like it's all dependent on I'd say, like, especially like the school and that year's class and everything. So yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, there's no solid checklist, but the only checklist I think I can definitely say, whatever you love to do it. Don't lose heart at all and do it consistently. Consistency is the key to everything. So consistently, once you study for 21 years, then you get a degree. It's the same consistency level. I mean, that the reason I say that because that's the easiest example for any students to understand, or anybody who understands as a lame person or as a normal general person, right? It doesn't have to be athletics or even music, right? If somebody's learning classical music, any kind of music, there's a consistency. They practice for hours and hours and hours. Right? So there's a consistency. You have to, it's investment for your own self. And that investment will bring you the financials at some point of time. And that's why we know the best given investment is education. That's why people want to educate, because it's a no-brainer. When you're educated, then yes, you will have good paying salaries. At least your life will be good. But that doesn't mean that's the only thing. Yeah. So basically, what are we here for? We are here to make our life fun, healthy, and comfortable with money that we have, and at the same time, enjoy whatever we can, right? So I think if you find that balance, you'll be able to. And I would highly recommend everybody to have some kind of other favorite activity that they love to do. May it be hiking, biking, traveling, anything, right? That's something away from their professional world. I mean, for me, it was bodybuilding. It will always be bodybuilding, and it is still bodybuilding. It's my first love and last love forever. Nobody comes in between my weights and me. Sorry. So, and I now see its results, and I would say it's the investment, the love that I have for it. Now, each and every doctor, yeah, now I'm like a parent. All parents of my age, they are now advised to go do weight training, right? Because of osteoporosis, because, calcium depletions, whatnot. Yeah. And I see, oh yeah, that's right. I had heard about this long time back when my coach was telling me this, but I now actually see the value of it. And that's why everybody should be doing this as one piece, but they should have some other form of recreation or something that they love to do, because that love will keep them going no matter what. Even if you are a bathroom singer, that's fine. Keep singing. It's okay. You have to have something that you love to do. Nobody has to stop. Nobody can stop you. Yeah.
Thank you, Sunila, for being here today and sharing your wonderful insights. I hope to stay in touch.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I mean, definitely, I would say now one of the things that I know we are probably about at time, but one highlight I definitely want to tell everybody here is men have been doing bodybuilding or have been lifting weights to become stronger from long ages. Women must do it. Women, girls, the female bodies must, it's a must do. I can't even highlight enough how much must it is, because that is something that is going to help all the women's issues. It be PCOS, it be menopause, whatever, different ages. And women go through all this at different, every single decade, from 20s to their 30s to their 40s to 50s. It is such a game changer in your life because it gives all kinds of hormonal balances. It helps you with hormonal balances. It keeps your muscles stronger. It keeps your vitamins level. It keeps your calcium levels up. You feel stronger. Your mindset is nice and stronger as well. It is free from all these crazy things that go around, like emotional sadness and all that stuff. Just continue to work. You have to have resistance. You cannot, I cannot say enough, but you cannot build muscle. Sorry. It is such a hard work to gain muscle, to be bulked up like a bodybuilder. It is very hard for women because we don't have those hormones. We have to start introducing those hormones or increasing the levels of hormones in our body. And that can be done only by injecting most of the times. And that's why some of the women bodybuilders, they look hulked up because they are not natural hormones. At the same time, if you look stronger, if your muscles start popping up, which means your fat has burnt from top of the muscle layer, that's the reason you look nice and sculpted. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend women, girls to start at a younger age. Nothing is going to harm them with the muscle training, with the bodybuilding training. And bodybuilding, it doesn't mean like you have to get into a competition. Bodybuilding is just a concept of sculpting your body to look nicer aesthetically and feeling stronger yourself. So, and this is not just for women. I mean, of course, men already do it, so I don't have a special message for them, but this is a special message for women because I want them to come into this resistance training or weight training, because that is something I still hear, oh, I will build muscles. I said, no, sorry guys. If that would have built muscles that fast, I would have been somewhere else, but it doesn't. I know how much time I have to put in, and effort I have to put in order to just bulk up one muscle. So it's very hard, girls. So just continue.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you for your inspiration.